progress on your contract talks, and is that something that you have a goal to complete before opening night?
Yeah, I think there's talks obviously with my camp and front office, and yeah, it's just gonna say it's done when it's done, and business will always take care of itself, and I'm just here to play hockey and get ready for another season and try to help my team win. So that's my goal. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much, like you probably understand, but just because my job is to try to help this team win every game.
Colorado traded Mikko Rantanen in a 3-team deal to the Carolina Hurricanes, acquiring forwards Martin Necas and Jack Drury, as well as second-round picks in this year's draft and a 4th-rounder in 2026.
Time to even process all of this?
Yeah, I think it's going to hit a little bit. It hasn't maybe hit yet, so.
Did Joe or Chris give you an idea that this could potentially come?
Well, I was shocked yesterday. I was surprised, but I don't really want to get into too much details. But it was a surprise for sure.
A lot of the guys are just shocked. I mean, it's pretty crazy someone like that getting traded right now. Even big part of our team, our culture. I mean, he's been here from the dog days. Has helped grow this organization into a Stanley Cup winner, and obviously being a contender every season is a big reason why. It's because of him.
I didn't know we were in a rush. That's what I felt. That's my honest opinion. It's business, and I understand they're trying to think what's best for the team. I was ready to take a significant discount from my market value. We had some chats a couple days before, and then they traded me. That's what happened. That's why I didn't expect it.
Mikko Rantanen gets to Carolina after a trade that completely blindsided him. He did not see that coming. In the interim, here's what I can tell you has happened. One, the Hurricanes, during the Four Nations, had a Zoom call with Rantanen and his agent Andy Scott of Octagon, where I'm told they really made their strongest pitch. He had a real detailed pitch about, what they're willing to pay him, about their vision for the team, how he fits in, and all that jazz.
And the Hurricanes made an offer, and I believe that offer is into the 9 digits. But they have made a big offer to Rantanen, and he has just said, look, I still need to process everything.
The Stars have officially acquired Mikko Rantanen from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Obviously, Carolina is a very good team, and I enjoyed my time there. A lot of talking to, players around the league about other teams, and playing against this team a lot. I know they're a good team, so that made it easier decision.
The biggest trade from the day, it's the Dallas Stars acquiring Mikko Rantanen from the Carolina Hurricanes. They also re-signed Rantanen to an $8 by $12 million contract extension, and also re-signed Wyatt Johnston to a 5-year, just over $8 million extension as well. So my first question for you guys today is, with the Dallas Stars acquiring Mikko Rantanen, who do you feel is the biggest winner from that trade? So your options are going to be Dallas, Carolina, or Mikko Rantanen.
Dallas.
Oh, man.
Dallas. I'm been on the bandwagon since the start of last year's playoffs. I love that entire team. Their team got deeper. You got Mikko Rantanen without giving up Wyatt Johnston, Robertson, or even a guy like Miro Heiskanen in this deal. And all you had to give up was Logan Stankoven and 2 conditional first-round picks and 2 third-round picks. And frankly, if you're a team like Dallas, who cares about the picks at all? You don't need the picks. And the fact that they kept all those guys, including adding Rantanen, just screams to me that the Stars are the bigger winner. I could definitely see somebody saying that Rantanen is a winner too.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like when I look at this deal, I completely agree. You look at what the Dallas Stars have been able to do with their drafting. Who cares about those picks? They have picked up almost every good prospect, low key one, good one, whatever you want to say it, and they can afford to take away this stuff because of one, how deep their lineup is and how young it is. You have Maverick Bourque sitting on your 4th line now. You picked up Mikael Granlund earlier on, and now you add Mikko Rantanen to a first line that is Jason Robertson, Hintz, and himself. That's pretty gross. Now, however, you look at Carolina, 2 firsts, 2 thirds, Logan Stankoven, not too shabby. I was very surprised. I thought they were going to flip one of those firsts to go and get a guy like Brock Besser. It didn't happen. I don't think there's a way that you can side with Carolina in this because, yet again, they give up another big star.
So can we look at the Carolina trade in a different perspective. This is what I've seen a lot of Carolina fans argue, at least from what I saw a lot of the comments after I posted yesterday. If you look at this trade in the grand scheme of things, Carolina received Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, a first-round pick in 2026 and 2027, a third-round pick in 2026 and 2027. And basically, if you look at it like they basically lost Natchez, Drury, a second and a fourth for that stuff. Makes it a little bit easier to wrap your head around. Obviously, you have to say Rantanen in there because they did trade for Rantanen, but I don't know if they would have gotten all of that stuff back for Natchez. So basically doing that swap like that, I guess that's how they're trying to cope with it. And the Brock Nelson thing, there were a lot of reports on it, but I guess because of the hiccups with Rantanen, the trade took basically until the deadline to go through, so the assets weren't available for Carolina to flip, which made things really hard for them to do anything else the rest of the day because, well, it didn't actually happen. So, yeah, I think you have to say Dallas is the winner here, but I don't think Carolina lost. I think they tried. You should try to feel at least okay about this because some teams don't go out and even try at all to make moves, and they were trying to be aggressive. It's not their fault necessarily that they're a smaller market and that players don't want to re-sign there.
Yeah, I mean, from Carolina's perspective, I would have rather gotten something back for Mikko than knowingly know that he wasn't going to re-sign no matter what in Carolina. Whether you won a cup or not, he was not coming back. So I also felt like Carolina just wasn't ready to go out and win a cup, especially with like Toronto and Florida out of the Eastern Conference and Washington. So getting 2 firsts and 2 thirds and then plus a young player in Stankoven that you can help build around, add him with Seth Jarvis and Aho, the rest of the crew in Carolina, I thought they made out okay in this trade.
Yeah, you know what? When I look at the Carolina Hurricanes, it's a good point of, like, you probably don't want to compete with these teams. Apparently, the rumor is, according to Nick Kiprios, the rumor is that the Leafs were close and they could have had Rantanen, but apparently they didn't want to bring him over there because they didn't want to run into the Leafs in the playoffs. When has that been a question, running into the Leafs in the playoffs? Like, is this a team that we should be scared of now? Like, I'm a Leafs fan myself, but I didn't see that.
Until the ECF too. Like, why would you even be worried about that?
That's what I'm thinking, and even when I look at the roster, I'm saying, okay, well, they were looking at maybe a guy like Matthew Nyes, for example, but even with that roster, I don't think they're making it there. Like I said again, if you're getting past Washington, if you're going to go and get past other teams in the Metro, you should be deserved to be there. And maybe the fact of the matter is you should just keep Mikko Rantanen. I don't know. This whole thing about not including Rantanen in that whole thing in the grand scheme of things is such loser thinking to me. Like, you should have made sure that he was coming to Carolina and wanted to sign instead of giving up assets. But then again, like I said, they made out pretty well getting that stuff. Maybe a little bit of a brighter future and more stuff coming for the Hurricanes.
I totally get wanting to bring in that superstar because the Hurricanes since 2020 have really lacked that first line winger or forward that can really put the puck in the net at will. Like, we see them get goalied every single playoffs, whether it's the second round, Eastern Conference Finals against Bobrovsky, Shesterkin, Sorokin, the list goes on. And then when you end up trading for Rantanen, he's going to be UFA, but instead of being like, let's pivot to somebody else because he knowingly will not sign here, we're still going to trade him anyways, and then when he doesn't pan out here a month later, we're going to trade him, and I don't know. Everything feels so weird there for Eric Tulsky in Carolina.
Yeah, and it's tough because you had Natchez, who was that guy for you, and he was on such a good team-friendly deal too. So it's tough to look back on as a whole and be like, hey, Carolina did the right thing here, because now you're basically saying it's going to take 2 to 3 years for us to kind of be where we want it to be this year. So I think it's pretty clear Dallas is the biggest winner, but I don't really feel like anybody lost outside of Carolina fans in this trade. Just having to be a little bit more patient with this retool, I guess, if you want to call it. I do think Stankoven's going to be great for them, though. I think you guys have a good player there. So it's nice to see that they weren't just like, hey, we just want picks back here. They actually got a good up-and-coming player who I think it's going to fit really well with them. So consensus, Dallas is the winner for that question.